Hello, everybody. We are going to get started on section 1-8. And this may or may not be a two-part video. I'm not sure. I do have a few graphs that we need to get through, and sometimes those take time, and I don't want to feel like I'm rushing. So I'm just going to go as fast as I need to go, and if I make a part 2, then I make a part 2. So here we go. So graphing linear inequalities, it's similar to graphing the equalities that we did in the previous section, but with dashes and shading. So it means that it's not just the points on the line, it could be points above the line or points below the line. So when I have when I have less than or equal to, or if I have greater than or equal to, that means that the line itself is part of the solution set and the line is going to be solid. If it's strictly less than or strictly greater than, then that means that the line is not part of the solution. And so we dash the line to let people know this is the boundary, but that the line itself does not represent points that are part of the solution. So linear inequalities using shading, oh my goodness. Linear inequalities use shading to represent the ordered pairs that satisfy the inequalities. So if we say like y has to be greater than x plus 2, all the shading above the line are points that make y bigger than x plus 2. So if the line is in slope-intercept form, if you have greater than or equal to, we're going to shade above the line. And you can refer to the y-axis looking at the y-intercept and shading above from there. And if it's less than or equal to, then we're going to shade below the line. All right, so you may wonder why these numbers are out of order. It's because I did pull them from a practice worksheet from the book, but since we're doing some typed notes with the PowerPoint stuff, I just pulled the ones that I wanted in the order that I usually do them in. So if we take a look at number 2, if you notice the slope here is going to be -2 and the y-intercept is going to be -4. So I'm going to start my line at -4. And then my slope is -2/1. So that means that I'm going to go down 2 and to the right 1, but the problem is that's off my chart. So remember I said you could do the opposite of the top and the opposite of the bottom. So that means we're going to go up 2 and to the left 1. So if I go up 2 and to the left 1, and I can do that a few times until I have a good idea of where my line is. So then the next question I want to ask is, are these points actually part of the solution set? So for example, I have the point 0, -4. If I substitute that, that means -4 is y, x is 0, and I'm going to say that -4 is less than -4. And do we see that -4 is not less than -4? So when I graph this line, I'm going to do it with dashes instead of solid, because even though it's a boundary for my shading, the points on the line do not make that inequality true. All right, so it is in slope-intercept form, and it is less than, so this is saying all my y values are below this line. So my shading would be below that line. So the line is the boundary. All the points leading up to that line are part of my solution set, but the line itself is not. And if you don't believe me, we can pick another point. So I can pick another point like 4, 0. So that's this point right here. So because it's in the shaded region, it should work. So if I plug that in, I get 0 for y less than -2 times, I'm sorry, that's -4 right there. That was my bad. So there's -4. So -2 times -4 and then -4. So is 0 less than 8 minus 4? 0 is less than 4, and so that point should be in the shaded region, just like we said. So if you don't like the whole above and below, you could pick a point and see if it works. So take a moment to look at number 3, pause the video for a moment and see if you can graph that. All right, so from there we can say that the slope is equal to 3 and the y-intercept is equal to 2. So my y-intercept is the starting point on my y-axis. And then I've got 3/1, which means to go up 3 and to the right 1. So I'm going to go up 3 and to the right 1, and then I really don't have anywhere else to go. So I'm going to take the opposite of 3 and the opposite of 1. So if I divide that, I still get +3, But now this tells me I can go down 3 and to the left 1. So if I go down 3 and to the left 1, we've got that. And then notice it says or equal to. So I'll give you an example. So let's pick that y-intercept again. If I pick 0, 2, plugging in 2 for y and 0 for x, we end up with 2 greater than or equal to 2. And so notice this is a true situation. 2 is greater than or equal to 2. So all the points on the line are part of the solution set to that inequality. So we would do a solid line in this case. It is in slope-intercept form, so because it says greater than, I'm going to go ahead and shade above the line. And again, you can test a point. So for example, if I pick 0, 0, it's not in the shaded region, so when I plug it in, it should give me a false statement. So is 0 greater than or equal to 3 times 0 plus 2? So is 0 greater than or equal to 2? And the answer is no. So 0, 0 is not in the shaded region, and the opposite side should be in the shaded region. All right, so take a moment to try number 6 on your own. Go ahead and pause the video. And so I have a slope of -1/2. I have a y-intercept at +4, so that's going to be my starting point. And then this slope with that -1 on the top, that means go down 1 and to the right 2. So from this point, I'm going to go down 1 and to the right 2. And so it looks something like that. And so then this one says less than or equal to. So the or equal to part says that my line itself is part of the solution. So I'm going to make that solid. And then it's saying all the y values less than this line. So all the y values below that line would look like this. And again, you can test a point, like we can test 0, 0. And if I plug that in, is 0 less than or equal to -1/2 times 0 plus 4? And so is 0 less than or equal to 4? That is true. So the origin should be in the shaded region, and it is. All right, so if we take a look at question number 1, not only is it not in slope-intercept form, there is no way to put it into slope-intercept form. So we're going to have to do something different. So when you can't put it into slope-intercept form, it's actually not a function. And the only line that's not a function is a vertical line. So let's see how we would find that vertical line. So this is saying all of my x values, ignoring this greater than or equal to, if I just said equal, all my x values would have to be -2, just looking for that line. So I can pick random y values like -2, I could pick 0, I could pick 3. It doesn't matter what y values I pick as long as my x values are -2. So that means I have the point -2, -2, I have the point -2, 0, and I have the point -2, 3. And notice when I put those in there, I have the vertical line just like I predicted. So anytime it's just an x in the problem, it's going to be not a function, and it's going to be a vertical line where x is equal to that value. And it says greater than or equal to, so I'm going to do a solid line to start with. Now, when it says greater than, I don't have an above or below when it comes to this line. So let's think about x values. I can test the origin. That's one way I can do this. So if I plug 0 in for x, is 0 greater than or equal to -2? That is a true statement. So that means that I would shade towards the origin. Another way we could think about it is the x-axis becomes greater as we go to the right, and it becomes lesser as we go to the left. So if it says x is greater than, we would shade to the right. If it says x is less than, then we would shade to the left. All right, so then another type of inequality we might see is a compound inequality. So if you have a compound inequality, you're going to split it into 2 separate inequalities, and then you're going to graph them in shade where the shading overlaps. So if we take a look at question number 7, I know it looks kind of crazy, but I want you to see it as 2 separate inequalities. So I've got this inequality on the left that says that 3/4 x minus 3 is less than or equal to y. And then I have this other inequality on the right that says, and also y is less than or equal to 4/5 x plus 4. Now, individually, we know how to graph these. We just didn't know how to graph them when you squish them both together. So taking a look at this one, if I flip this all the way around, that means I'm going to flip this inequality as well. So instead of the line being less than y is going to be less than the line, or less than or equal to the line. So make sure, oops, forgot my x. So make sure that you flip the, let's try that again. So I'm going to flip the inequality and I get 3/4 x minus 3. My apologies on that. And so we're going to graph both of these and then we're going to shade where they overlap. All right. So just focusing on this one, I've got a slope of 3/4 and I have a y-intercept at -3. So -3 is going to be my starting point. And then here I'm going to count up 3 and to the right 4. And then looking at my inequality, it does give me the opportunity for or equal to. So I'm going to go ahead and make this solid. Now I'm not going to go crazy on my shading yet because, well, I don't want to make a big mess of my paper. So what I'm going to do is, this says greater than, so I need my shading to be above the line. And if I remember correctly, this graph is kind of weird, so I might have to extend some things in a minute. All right, so then my next one says I've got a slope of 4/5 and I have a y-intercept at 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And so if I try to go up 4 and to the right 5, I'm going to be way off the charts. So I'm going to go in reverse and say -4 over -5. So that means go down 4 and to the left 5. So if I go down 4 and to the left 5, I end up right there. Yep, I remember. So this is or equal to. So what I want you to imagine, and I'm going to kind of exaggerate it a little. So this isn't going to be a perfect graph. So if I keep going like this, and if I make this not quite so perfect, if I keep going like this, do you see that at some point in time they're going to cross? And so then I need to figure out where would that shading be. And I apologize for this not being the best example to start with, but we're going to go with it. So this one says shade below. And so do you see that they're facing each other in between those two lines? So from the point that they would intersect there all the way out, this would be my shaded region, because anything above here would not be shaded with the yellow, and anything below here would not be shaded with the pink. So this is the only section until we reach that point where they would meet that we would be overlapping those two. All right, so go ahead and get started. See what you can do with number 8, and I'm going to pause this video and start a fresh one just to make sure that I don't run out of time and we have plenty of time for me to explain everything.